Angela, thank you so much. This is an honor to be an MC here today. As you heard, I'm a reporter. I've been a reporter 34 years this month. Isn't that great? I've covered all kinds of stories, immigration issues, immigrants, the good, the bad, the popular. But you know what? What I'm most proud of is being the daughter of immigrants from Mexico. Alfredo and Rebecca Aguilar left everything in Mexico, didn't know the language, came here, and by the time I was an adult, they were civil rights leaders, migrant rights activists, union leaders, and they owned 3 businesses. So let me tell you the impact of immigrants. And I want to really thank Cowles Thompson for having this event, because today we do shine a light on immigrants. And it is important, today especially, when this issue about immigrants is a hot topic in the news all the time. My parents taught us that, you know what, it's not about money, it's not about status, it's not even about power. It's not about keeping up with the Joneses, or in our case, the Garcias. It's about making an impact with the talent that God gave you. And I called my mom on the way here and I said, Mom, did I do it? She said, muy bien, Rebequita, muy bien. Thank you. So thank you so much for this celebration that I'm going to be part of today. I also want to thank some special guests today, because you know what? These people are busy, busy people, but they knew how important this event is. And I'd really like you to stand up, because I want everyone to recognize you. Ricardo Bowen, he's the Honorary Consul of Ecuador. Ricardo? Jose Tripp Villanueva, Consul of Mexico. My friend and a woman I admire because she's such a great leader, Dr. Elba Garcia, Dallas County Commissioner. Elba. Trudy Lewis, please stand up. She's here representing Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson. Thank you for coming. And Elaine Taylor is here representing State Senator Helen Giddings. Thank you, Elaine, for coming. Okay, one of the things that's important in one of these events is that not everybody can be here because they have to work or they just couldn't make it. So here's what I want you to do. Everybody's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Take some photos. Tweet out some great inspirational, quotes from the keynote or anyone up here. Take pictures of the nominees, the scholarship recipients. Brag about them. We need the world to know about them. And our hashtag, as we have decided, is honoring immigrants. So if you tweet, put honoring immigrants, hashtag. And that's important. Share that. It's so important. I also want to introduce now Ann Massey Badmes. She is one of the organizers of this beautiful event. I told her, breathe. Because, look at this. This is overwhelming. If you could be up here, that'd be great. Okay, wait a minute. I better take a picture because, so I want all of you guys to look good and smile here. I'm gonna take one there. I'm gonna take one there. Oh, I love you. Right here in the front. He posed for this photo so well. Thank you so much, Pete. I saw that. Anyway, Anne, come on up here, and she's going to talk a little bit more about this event.
Thank you, Rebecca. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Cowles and Thompson, I thank you for your support in our efforts to shine a spotlight on the positive contributions of immigrants to North Texas and the nation as a whole. We're here to celebrate the exceptional achievements of outstanding immigrant entrepreneurs, professionals, civic leaders, community leaders, as well as advocates on behalf of the immigrant community. And we're also here to support our future leaders with scholarships to help advance their education. This is the 4th year of the Immigrant Journey Awards, and we're fortunate to have past honorees as guests here today. So I'd like to acknowledge them and ask them to stand as I call their names. Again, Dallas County Commissioner Dr. Elba Garcia, who is recipient of our Immigrant Spirit Award. Peter Burns, who was the recipient of our Immigrant Spirit Award. Baku Kshatriya, please stand. He was the recipient of our Immigrant Entrepreneur Award. And I believe Mr. Muthu Mudalir, Immigrant Professional Excellence Award. There, stand up. Okay, thank you. Well, I just want to tell you a little bit about Cowles Thompson. We're a full-service law firm committed to supporting our diverse North Texas communities, and the Immigrant Journey Awards is just part of that commitment. So I encourage you to visit our website at www.cowlesthompson.com to learn more about our community and diversity programs, as well as the legal services we provide. So in addition to that, in addition to our immigration law group, I'd like to have our attorneys from Cowles Thompson please stand. Many of them here with deep expertise in business law, lawsuits, family, and other areas. And finally, we are also here to celebrate Immigrant Heritage Month. For those of you who might not have heard of this is the second effort this year, our nationwide effort, to gather and share inspirational stories of immigrants in America. You have a glimpse of some of those stories as you see the slide presentations that we have on the screen, and I'm sure you will certainly hear more wonderful stories from our presenters and honorees today. But we all have an immigrant story, either personally or through our parents or ancestors. So we want to encourage you to share your stories through the Immigrant Heritage Month website, welcome.us, and also the White House website, as you'll see, will provide information on that, and the social media outlets that we have listed, or just through conversation. Share your stories, share them with your children, share them with everyone, because we think it's really important that we join together in helping our nation remember and celebrate the richness of our immigrant history and the continuing contributions of immigrants today. So we have a full program. I'm going to let you go ahead and enjoy your lunch now as we show, and we're going to show 3 short video presentations as well. So again, thank you, and we'll be back in about 20 minutes. Thank you.
All right, you guys, let's go on with this. And don't forget, I want to see those tweets. I saw my tweet, honoring immigrants. We want the world to know about them. That's important. All right, so now I want to welcome the president and CEO of the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. She's been the president since January 2013, and she's one of the youngest CEOs in the country. Leaders in Congress and the Senate have called on her for advice on immigration policy and small business development. I would love to have her resume one day. Please welcome Azucena Resendiz.
Buenos días. Y nomás para confirmar, lamentablemente ya no soy la presidenta de la Cámara de Comercio Hispana en Fort Worth porque voy a seguir mis estudios en Notre Dame University, en cual salgo el jueves para esta aventura. Pero gracias, mil gracias, se los agradezco. And everyone, thank y'all so much for being here. We know how valuable everyone's time is, and it truly is an honor to be able to present to you our keynote speaker today. I actually had the chance to chit-chat with him, and his story is phenomenal, and he makes me feel like I'm about 10 years behind in all of the activity and life goals that I'm looking to achieve. So, you know, I'm standing before you here, the proud daughter of immigrant parents from San Luis Potosí, Mexico. So for many of us that have experienced that same journey as Myron and as the recipients of the awards, we really do appreciate everything and every sacrifice that everyone has made. So without further ado, Myron Rolle. He is a sports enthusiast, and intellects alike know Myron Rolle as a gifted athlete, a scholar, and a philanthropist. He was born in Houston, Texas, to Whitney and Beverly Rolle of the Bahamas, and Myron grew up in New Jersey as one of the youngest of 5 siblings. When speaking with him, he named off what his siblings did, and I was just in disbelief. So he's in med school, and one of his siblings is an investment banker. The other one was a medic in the Army. One's a teacher, and another one's an attorney. So I think that deserves a round of applause for his parents. So Myron was such an outstanding athlete that in 2006, ESPN's recruiting services ranked him as the #1 high school football prospect in the country, and he's earned a staggering 83 Division I scholarship offers. He ultimately chose to attend Florida State University, where he continued to excel in football and in academics. In fact, he received the prestigious Rhodes Scholarship, which enabled him to study at Oxford, at the University of England. And after Myron completed his studies, he was drafted by the Tennessee Titans, making him only the third Rhodes Scholar to play in the NFL. So always a philanthropist, Myron started the Myron L. Rolle Foundation in 2009 and dedicated that support and that mission to health and to wellness. The other charitable initiatives throughout the world that benefit children and families in need as well. He's involved in several other community initiatives, and like many of us, Myron is driven by his parents. He's driven by the sacrifice that his parents made, the struggles that his parents endured, just to give them a better life. His repayment for their sacrifice and for his own is his steadfast commitment to maximizing each facet of his life. He is truly a remarkable young man, and I quote from Myron that his motivation is to be a leader and create a landscape for others to do the same. And we all know that we do need to pay it forward. So it is almost as if it was placed before Myron, and this challenge was placed before him to share with us today and with the rest of the world. So Myron currently resides in Jupiter, Florida, and attends medical school with the goal of becoming a neurosurgeon. Is that it? Myron, God bless you, buddy. We look forward to hearing your message. Come on.
Good afternoon. Well, it is certainly an honor to be here with all of you today. Certainly a privilege to be here. I'm excited and elated at this opportunity to stand before such a successful and influential group of leaders in our community. I want to thank Cowles Thompson for inviting me here today, for thinking enough of me as a worthy speaker to address such a great group as this, especially in this month where we celebrate immigrant heritage. This means a lot to me as a first-generation immigrant to stand before you and to take part in this very magnanimous and celebratory sort of event. It's very exciting, and I don't want to run past that fact that this is a very special time where we are honoring some of the best and the brightest of this particular community. This is not my first time here in Dallas. I was, as you heard in the introduction, I played for the Tennessee Titans, and we played the Dallas Cowboys in my rookie year in 2010. And it was cool to come here and see that big jumbotron that's in that stadium. We ended up beating the Cowboys that day, so it was a good trip for me. Don't tell Jerry Jones I said that. I heard he's got some power. So, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It was a great time to be here. I'm glad again to be here once again with all of you. When I begin my talk, I always like to start at the genesis of my story, and the beginning of my narrative takes us to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. As you heard in the introduction, I am Bahamian, and my family is from Exuma, Bahamas, which is one of the family islands in the Bahamas. In fact, my surname Rolle is very popular in the Bahamas. I'll give you a little history. In 1836, slavery was abolished in the Bahamas, and the slave owner, Lord John Rolle from Great Britain, he had a bunch of slaves on his plantation, and when slavery was ended, he left the Bahamas, but left his plantation for all of his slaves, and the slaves took his last name, and that's where all the Rolles really originate from. And if you can trace your lineage back to that plantation in Exuma, Bahamas, you can petition the government of the Bahamas to get that land and build on that land if you want. You can't sell on it, you can't sell it or make a profit from it, but you can build on it. So I went to the Bahamian government, got my land, and now I'm building a free health clinic in Exuma, Bahamas there. So really neat. It's really cool to come full circle with that. But my parents were born and raised in Nassau, Bahamas. That's the capital. My grandparents moved from Exuma later in their life. Mommy and Daddy met when they were 8. They dated at 15, and they married at 21. They've been married for 43 years. They had my older brothers in Nassau. Mommy was 7 months pregnant with me in Nassau, but wanted eventually to move the family to the U.S., so came to Houston, had me here, left after 6 weeks, went back to the Bahamas. Waited for Daddy's job in Citibank, Nassau, to transfer him to Citibank, New York. And eventually, we moved up there, and that's where I spent the majority of my formative years in New Jersey, a town called Galloway Township, New Jersey, in the southern part of the state, near Atlantic City. Now, in New Jersey, my parents wanted to keep me and my brothers connected to our culture. They knew that we had this Bahamian blood running through our body. They wanted to make sure that we understood about Sir Lyndon Pinley. He was the first Prime Minister of the Bahamas when we became independent, July 10, 1973. They wanted us to know about Junkanoo, festival and carnivals and cultures and traditions, and all the things, all the pearls that Bahamian kids would get living in the Bahamas. We were transplanted into the United States, living in New Jersey, but we had a Bahamian culture around us, and my parents wanted us to stay connected to the Bahamas. But while we were here, my folks also wanted to make sure that we understood that this was a great opportunity for us to excel in this great country. They felt that America was a place with an abundance of resources, that if me and my brothers developed a firm foundation of education, if we stayed true to our Christian principles, if we became good men, good citizens, and good leaders, that there could be no ceiling on our growth. We could maximize our ability and we could be great people in this country. They felt that the table of successful people in our generation, whether they were Jewish or Italian or whatever, if they were taking a seat at that table, we deserved a seat too, despite the fact that we had dark skin, despite the fact that we didn't have much money, despite the fact that we've come from a small country with limited resources, despite the fact that we ate fried conch, stewed conch, boiled conch, cracked conch burger, conch fritters, peas and rice, guava duff. Our cuisine had no prohibitive factor on the amount of proliferative success we could have in this country. So my parents spoke that over us, to us, through us, all the time as young people. The Bible says in Isaiah 55:11, "So shall it be, the words that go forth out of my mouth, they shall not return to me void." My parents were prophesying success over all of us all the time. So I walked out of the house in Galloway Township, New Jersey, with the utmost conviction, utmost belief that, yeah, I belong in this country. And at a time when you're young and you're kind of realizing, well, am I American? Am I Bahamian? Like, what am I doing? Like, what's my identity? My parents having that belief in me and my brothers gave me the assurance to continue to move forward towards who I wanted to be and who I ought to be, having this great opportunity in the United States. So what'd that do? Having that confidence, that belief by my parents, underscoring my young life, that allowed me to play many sports. I played football, basketball, baseball, track, volleyball. I got involved in a lot of different sports. Then I did a lot of different extracurricular activities. I built homes for Habitat for Humanity in Circleville, West Virginia, and Wakulla, Florida. I played the baritone saxophone in our jazz bands. I was a student body president, and one cool thing about that was my constituents, they wanted Coca-Cola in the lunchroom when I was in 8th grade. And they were like, "Myron, we want Coke in the lunchroom. You're a student body president, get it done." I'm like, "I'm gonna get it done for you guys." So I went to our principal, Miss G. Quinto, and I banged on her door. I said, "Miss G, my people have spoken, and they want Coca-Cola in the lunchroom." And she said, "Myron," she was very nice. She was like, "Myron, you know, it's gonna cost too much money, it's not that healthy." I said, "Okay." I just finished watching The Godfather, so I said, "Miss G, I'm gonna make an offer you can't refuse." So I went back, I did some research, I found that Coca-Cola, found some article that said Coca-Cola wasn't as bad as people think it was. We started a penny drive in school. We made like $200 or something like that, which wasn't gonna be enough to put Coke in the room, in the lunchroom. But I brought it back to Miss G. Quinto, and she said, "You know what, I appreciate your ambition, and I appreciate you guys fighting for this cause." So she put Coca-Cola in the lunchroom for a week, but we got it done, and we were proud of that. I think we got more done in our middle school than politicians are getting done in DC right now. That was my shot. I told my daddy I'd be apolitical when I came here, but I had to do it. But yeah, so I did all those things, and I enjoy doing them. And I enjoy doing them because I wanted to be steadfast in my taking advantage of this opportunity to be in this great country of the United States of America. And then this next story I'm going to tell you truly highlights how the trajectory of my life kind of changed and how it got me here right now in this place, in this space with all of you here. When I was about 13 years old, my friends and I would go to the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey. The boardwalk in AC was really cool. It had casinos, and it had games, and it had malls, and really nice. So my friends and I would wear our nicest clothes, and we'd get nice fresh haircuts, and I'd take my daddy's Polo cologne, like the green bottle one with the gold top, and I'd spray it all over myself just so I can look good for the girls that were walking in the boardwalk. We'd eat saltwater taffies and drink lemonade. And yes, we would try to speak to every good-looking young girl that walked past. Most of the time, these girls were from Delaware or Maryland or Pennsylvania, but then like one time we'd get like a girl from California. It was like a unicorn, like seeing somebody from California. When you're 13 years old, I'm like, oh my gosh, California, it's like a new country. It was amazing. And one day, this has absolutely nothing to do with my message today, but I want to say it with you because I have your attention in the microphone. One day I was hot. I really was. On that boardwalk, I got 9 numbers from 9 different girls. At 13 years old, that was an impressive thing for me. And if you ask my boys today, what is Myron's greatest accomplishment? They won't say the NFL. They won't say the Rhodes Scholarship. They won't say traveling to Bukavu, Congo with President Clinton. They will say that day he got 9 numbers on the boardwalk. He was on fire. It was like gold in my hand. It was amazing. But my father heard about my summer exploits, and he was not as excited about them. So he made me stay in the house in the summertime at 13 years old and do book reports on people like Kofi Annan, Nelson Mandela, Paul Robeson, Booker T. Washington, W.B. Du Bois, Ben Carson. Now, to me, these were just names. I had no idea who these men were, and I was upset that my father was not allowing me to go outside in the summer and enjoy my time with my friends. But I did the reports on these men, and I learned about their leadership abilities. I learned about their intellectual capital. I learned how they used their leadership skills to galvanize a massive amount of people to move towards one common goal. And I felt that I got better doing these reports. My father, at the end of this experience, sat me down and said, Myron, I was making you do these reports not out of punishment, but I made you do these reports because I wanted you to see people who look like you, have come from similar backgrounds as you, that have used their mind and their leadership ability to be a waymaker, to blaze a path, to bust open a door into a theater so that you and generations behind you could walk into that theater and become a player on the world stage like William Shakespeare from Stratford-upon-Avon said. And son, when it is your opportunity to bust open a theater door so that others can walk in, you must do the same. That's what my daddy told me. I was proud. I was proud of the fact that my father was charging his last son, his last child, with the responsibility to being that kind of leader. At 13 years old, having that kind of weight on your shoulders, it could seem daunting, but for me, it was an honor. It really was. So now fast forward 9 years later, 9 years later, I am at Florida State University playing for the Seminoles in Tallahassee, Florida. I just come from high school where I'd been the #1 player in the country, and I was having a really good college career. I was an All-American, Defensive Player of the Year award candidate, All-ACC player, having a great season, and projected to go in the first or second round of the National Football League draft. Everything was really working out for me on the football field. But at the same time in my junior season, I won the Cecil J. Rhodes Scholarship, which is the highest academic award that any college student can win. And usually it doesn't go to jocks like me. The last jock to win one was a guy named Pat Hayden. He played at USC. As a quarterback, and now he's the athletic director at USC. Before him was a guy, Tom McMillan, played basketball. Before him was Bill Bradley, U.S. Senator, played for the New York Knicks, went to Princeton. And before him was a guy named Byron Whizzer White, one of the Supreme Court justices from back in the day. So it wasn't, it's not a long list of people who have been Rhodes Scholars and professional athletes, and I was proud to join that group. But I had this choice to make. Do I go to the NFL and go as a first-round pick and make millions of dollars? And I chose Florida State University because I knew that this school had a pedigree and an acumen for putting players into the National Football League. So I was like, okay, this is my chance. So I can go to the NFL, or I can go to Oxford University and be a Rhodes Scholar. It was a very tough choice to make, Oxford or the NFL, NFL or Oxford. It was good options, but it was a very tough choice. I asked my teammates, my classmates, my church mates, my Twitter followers, my Facebook friends, asking everybody, what would you do? If I saw you at a Waffle House, I'd ask you too. I did not know what to do. I really didn't. And I sat in my room and I thought introspectively. I meditated, I prayed, and I thought about this decision very, very hard, very ardently. But then I had my aha moment. I'm sure some of you have had those moments before. That moment where kind of the light bulb proverbially goes off and you say, this is it. This is that moment that my father was talking about 8, 9 years ago when he said, Myron, you can have a chance to bust open a door into a theater to become a player on that world stage. This is that chance. This was my moment. This was that aha moment where I said, if I choose Oxford, if I choose education over the NFL, I can be showing young people, black, white, foreign, domestic, rich, poor, urban, suburban, I can be showing young people like, look, you can choose education. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. They can draw inspiration from my story, and then they can get into that theater. I could bust open that theater door. They can get in, and they can become great world leaders. And I felt honored to even have that opportunity to make that kind of choice. So I did. I chose Oxford. I went to England. I got my master's in medical anthropology, which looks at the social and cultural aspects of medicine. As you heard, I want to be a neurosurgeon, but I want to travel to low to middle income countries and be an efficacious doctor on the ground level by understanding the people who I'm treating. So that degree at Oxford truly behooved this future interest of mine. I had a chance to meet new people. I traveled different countries almost every weekend. I ate some bad food, bangers and mash and fish and chips, and I stayed in shape as best I could. Came back to the United States, got drafted in the 6th round in the NFL draft instead of the 1st. I made $70,000 guaranteed money instead of $2 million, and I was the 52nd man on the roster instead of the 23rd. I played 3 years in the NFL, 2 with the Titans and 1 with the Steelers, rather than 8 or 9 as was projected. So yes, there was a sacrifice on the athletic side of things, no doubt about it, but I do not regret that decision whatsoever, because again, it put me in this category of being a role model for people to draw inspiration from my story, and I perhaps can lead them. If I can bust open a door, I'll be doing good work, and I'm here today. And I'm here today, again, to uplift and celebrate all of you in this room right now who I've read about and I've heard about and I'm seeing who are busting open theater doors. You are here right now because you are doing just that. You're busting open theater doors, and that's not a fact that I want to sprint past. In fact, I want to jog or even walk on that fact that you are doing great work. You are doing outstanding work in the community. You are leading people. You are being visionary, and you're doing outstanding things. And you ought to be uplifted and exalted and truly celebrated for what you've been doing. No question about it. Busting open theater doors is a beautiful thing. However, the next phase of this movement, after we do bust open these doors, is to help the people who we lead or help the people who we mentor or even help yourself get onto that stage and become a player, like William Shakespeare from Stratford-upon-Avon once said. That's the next part of it. And when I say world stage, I don't want you to think it's fantastical or quixotic and so intangible. When I say world stage, I just mean something that's outside of yourself. Get on that stage and become a player. Do big things in the community. We can't be sideline spectators or boundary observers, and the people you lead can't do that either. We have to get moving and get going. And I just want to provide you with 3 takeaways that you can have with you as I take my seat after I finish this. I want to give you these 3 pearls, so to speak, that you can use for the people you lead and people you mentor or people you witness to. How do we get onto that stage and become players? The first way, I think, is to identify. Identify that calling or that cause that matters to you, that matters to others around you. Identify. When you're sitting at home, when you're on the couch, disconnected, decompressing, and you're watching, Say Yes to the Dress or The Property Brothers or whatever it is you watch. Those are my favorite shows, so I just threw that out there. Whenever you're just in your leisure moment and a conversation you hear or a commercial comes on that kind of arrests you and stops you in that moment of leisure, and you say, oh, that's not quite right. Somebody ought to do something about that. I don't like the way that sounds. That is your body autonomically telling yourself that you ought to move. Your body's identifying something that matters to you. It's almost like if you're hearing information and it gets into your internal machinery and you're trying to process it and your body's saying, this is not processing right, this is not registering. That is your body telling you that you are identifying something that matters. A lot of people suppress and oppress that voice that they hear. I'm here today to tell you, don't suppress that voice. Listen to that voice. Allow it to move you into a better direction. And allow the people who you lead and mentor to move them into a better direction. Identify. I was reading a newspaper article in the New York Times because we just finished playing Boston College. We had beat them, and I was looking for the article on the story of the game that we played. I couldn't find the article, but what I did find was an article on first Native American children suffering from alarmingly high rates of diabetes and obesity. And that story arrested me in that moment. I said, that's not quite right. That's not quite right. Because I went to that story with prior knowledge, understanding that Native American children, and Native Americans in general, were plagued with the stigma of being suicidal or drug abusers or alcohol abusers. I knew that at one point in this country, 8 of the 10 poorest counties had reservations on them. I knew that Native Americans were herded up like cattle and placed in these reservations. You stay there and we'll stay over here. We'll take this good part and you take this reservation part. I knew that. I already knew that there was a lot of struggles and challenges going on, mental health issues in the Native American population. And now their kids are suffering from these emerging non-communicable diseases. That's an issue. That was an issue for me. So that was my body identifying something that mattered. First, you must identify. After you identify, then you must load. Load your mind, load your body with the requisite skills, knowledge, and information to then move into that cause. You must get equipped. You must get prepared for the battle, for the fight. And however it is that you or the people that you lead, however they learn, whether it's visual or tactile learner, or whether you just like go into conferences or hearing speeches or whatever it is, however you place information onto and into your corporal material body, do that. Do that. Load yourself and get yourself ready so when they ask you, why are you doing this? What are you doing this for? You can say why you're doing it, what you're doing, how you're doing it, what you expect to see in 5 years, 10 years, when you want to do it. You can snap off all those answers like that because they're loaded up and you're ready to go. I had a teammate with the Pittsburgh Steelers named Troy Polamalu. He's from American Samoa. And Troy is one of the great players in the NFL. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. For you football fans out there, you know who he is. He's an outstanding football player, safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers. For those of you who do not watch football as much, he's the one in the Head and Shoulders commercials with the long hair. That's Troy Polamalu. Great player, truly insightful. Troy and I will have conversations on American Samoa, and I'll talk about my country, the Bahamas. We talk about education, politics, natural resources. I mean, we were having some very deep philosophical conversations on the football field. But when it came time to play the game, to strap on our black and gold uniforms, to put on our cleats, to put on our pads, you know, to load our body with this equipment so that we can go play this football game, we transformed from cerebral thinkers into hard-hitting collision football players. We transformed because we loaded ourselves and got ourselves ready to go. And it's the same thing for you and the people who you lead and the people who you mentor. If you load yourself, get yourself ready and equipped for that fight, you're going to transform from somebody who's, maybe I can do something about this. Maybe I should, maybe I could, to somebody who says, yes, I will do it. I know I can do it, and I'm going to leave this impact so you can feel me. That's what it's about. That's when you load yourself. For me, I loaded myself by going down to the Seminole Tribe of Florida and speaking at Pemieta Emahaga, the charter school there on the reservation there with the Seminole Tribe. I spoke to the chief and the matriarch of the tribe. I went and taught a summer class down in Orlando where the students were going to be, and I learned even a little bit of the Creek language. I wanted to load myself. In fact, I did my Oxford thesis on the Native American body, internal and external controls. I went all the way to England to write about American Indians back in the US. But I had to get myself ready. I had to load. You must identify, load, and the last thing I want you to do, and the last thing I want the people who you lead and the people who you witness to do, is mobilize. You got to get moving. You have to get going. If we'll stand in line for a Beyonce concert or for the new iPhone, if we'll stand in line for, is it Lily Pulitzer at Target? I mean, if we'll stand in line for those kind of things, you know, why can't we stand in line or get ourselves moving and activated for something that matters to you and the community around you? That's what it means. You got to get going. It's not enough to just sit back and theorize and conceptualize about what's going on wrong, about what we should be doing or what he should be doing or what they should be doing. No, get up and go. Especially you young high school students who are here today. Excited about you. I really am, because you have the energy and enthusiasm and you have potential that is great. And you are going to go very far, and that's why you're being awarded today. It's exciting to see you here, no question about it. But we have to mobilize. We have to get going and move. One of my good friends at Oxford University, her name is Aisha Saad. She's a Muslim American woman from Cairo, Egypt, raised in Cary, North Carolina, went to UNC Chapel Hill. Aisha and I became very close at Oxford. I mean, we have these discussions on Friday mornings at breakfast about everything and anything. I learned about her faith. She learned about my faith. It was amazing. Full hijab, just a fantastic woman, the most brilliant woman I've ever met, probably. I mean, Aisha is a rock star. So now I'm in Tennessee in 2011. I'm finished my degree at Oxford. Aisha is getting her DPhil at Oxford, so she's still there. And at this time, in 2011, there was a revolution happening in Egypt. And she said, Myron, there's a revolution going on in my country, and I have to go. I said, oh, no, you don't. I said, I'm looking on CNN, I'm seeing Anderson Cooper, the silver-haired fox, getting trampled in the streets. I said, Aisha, I can't have you going there. I mean, you're 5'7". I mean, you're diminutive. Like, I don't feel safe about it. She said, look, Myron, if I want to be a true world leader, like Cecil J. Rhodes wants us to be through this Rhodes Scholarship, if I want to be on that stage, as you always talk about, to be a true player, then I can't sit here in my comfortable flat in Oxford, England, while my people are in Tahrir Square marching and protesting and trying to move Hosni Mubarak out of power. I have to go. I do. I said, okay, well, I'll pray for you and you have my blessing. Please let me know how it goes. WhatsApp me and let me know how it goes. So she goes over there. She leaves Oxford. She goes to Egypt and she joins that revolution. She called it a nameless and faceless revolution of young people. in Egypt. She says Egypt's not where it should be, but it's much better off now than it was before. And she was proud that she was able to join that sort of revolution. Aisha became a player on that stage by moving and mobilizing herself into action. She is fantastic, and she became a player on that stage. For me, I mobilized by starting a foundation and creating a program called Our Way to Health, this anti-obesity program right in the Seminole Tribe of Florida. The program was so successful down there that the U.S. Department of Interior, Secretary Ken Salazar, adopted the program and placed it in the Navajo, Hopi, and Pueblo Indians in New Mexico and Arizona. All from identifying, then loading, and then mobilizing into action. You have to mobilize yourself to get going. If you do these things, I have to yield my time now. I know we have a rest of a ceremony to enjoy. But if you identify and you load and you mobilize, I'm telling you, you will then move into that position where you become a player on that stage. Again, I don't want to say that this is a very light moment for me. This means a lot to stand here before you and to stand here with you with so many successful and influential people. And I hope the words that I said today, for some of you, just is a reminder of all the good work that you've already been doing. I'm hoping that's just a pat on the back for all the good work you've been doing. For most of you, it's probably that. But for someone out there today who's a bit apprehensive or feeling a bit hesitant about making another step towards being great, going from good to great, going from great to fantastic, I hope maybe my words can help be that little push that we need, because we do need you. We need all of you in this room to continue to make waves, to continue to bust open the door in that theater, and to help the people you lead to get onto that stage and become players. Especially young high school students, I'm proud of what you've done. For everyone in here, again, very proud of you. I'm looking forward to the rest of this event, and hopefully, one day, joining hand in hand with you as we continue this fight towards a better America and a better world. No question about it. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Yes, he deserves that standing ovation. Myron, I think you're old enough to be my son. I'll adopt you. You're adopted as of today. You're an Aguilar. I love keynote speakers like Myron because they do remind us that we all have a talent, that we all have something to give. I don't know how many people sit on the couch and go, oh, I got nothing to give. Oh, yes, you do. You have something to give. And Myron, I mean, look at him. For Native Americans, for foster kids. I mean, this is a young man who one day will be a doctor. And he has time. So find that time. No excuses. Find that time. All right, so moving on. Now I'm going to introduce Angela Lopez. She's also from Cowles and Thompson. And she is going to start our scholarship portion of this program. Angela.
Thank you, Rebecca. And I just want to say to Byron, thank you so much. What an inspiration. And I don't want to adopt you, but I do have two girls that are single. So let me know, and I'll introduce you to them. Okay. So here I am for the scholarship portion of this program. I had the distinguished honor to coordinate the application and selection process of the American Dream Scholarship Program this year. Let me just share something with you. I had been involved with this program since we started doing this event since 2011. And every time I am amazed by the stories, achievements, and talents of our young children, our young scholars. They are truly amazing. I think that some of the judges who help us out in this process, and they are here, I would like if you please could stand up so people can recognize you. They can tell you how difficult the choice and selecting the winners was. It was a process. We this year received over 90 applications for the scholarships from 12 different independent school districts in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Amazing stories. We sincerely wish we could give a scholarship to each one of them. They all deserve it, but quite frankly, we will go broke if we do that. So allow me to extend our gratitude to the people who helped us out to make the selection. Again, it was a difficult choice, but they did a remarkable job. With this little introduction. So let me just, at this time, ask Mr. David Metzler, Cowles Thompson Managing Partner, to join me at the podium to hand out the scholarship certificates. Please. I'm going to be calling the recipients, and I will ask that you please hold the applause until all the names are called so we can get the program moving. Okay. Of all the applicants that we received, the following scholars were selected because of their academic achievements and outstanding community service. The recipients of our 2015 American Dream Scholarships are Ziva Damanwala, if you could please come. She graduated from Early College High School in Carrollton ISD and will attend Texas A&M this summer in the fall, and her goal is to become the ultimate CEO. Next, we have Diana Monjancha. She graduated from Lake Highlands High School, Richardon ISD. She was born in Kenya and will attend UT at Arlington. Diana is not here today. She's at her orientation in college as we speak. And her parents, Mr. Kennedy Monjancha and Mrs. Ann Omayo, are here to receive the certificate on her behalf. And last but not least, Sue Young. Ms. Young. She graduated from Ranch View High School in Carrollton ISD. She was born in South Korea, will be attending UT Austin, and she will become an outstanding pharmacist. Congratulations to all our scholarships recipients for their outstanding achievements. Please give them another round of applause. Thank you, Mr. David. At this time, I'll turn out the podium to Ms. Badmes, who will do the awards.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. And another hand. All right. So now we're going to have our awards presentation, and just to give a little background, the 2015 Immigrant Journey Awards recognize and honor exceptional immigrant individuals who've chosen to make this country their home and who have demonstrated leadership in business, professional excellence, and in the civic arena. Before I go on to the presentations, I want to recognize the selection committee of seven judges, which consisted of the Honorable Martin Hoffman, Dallas County Judge, 68th Judicial District Court, Baku Satria, President of and CEO of Ecom Consulting, who's here with us today. So if you please stand again, thank you. Lisa Rapfogel Ostrov, who is with Allegiant Wealth Management. Lisa, if you would, she's also here today. There she is, thank you. We also had Elizabeth Hernandez Sosa, who is an assistant controller at Omni Hotels. Edward Okpa, who's also here with us today. Mr. Okpa, if you would please stand, with the Okpa Company. And last but not least, Ms. Jody West, also of Allegiant Wealth Management. Let's give them a round of applause. We're so excited to have received nominations from such accomplished individuals who truly exemplify the best that the United States has to offer. The finalist nominees are truly outstanding, and our judges, of course, have a very hard time choosing winners for just an esteemed group of finalists. It's a great accomplishment in itself to be selected as a finalist nominee, so before we announce the 6 winners, we want to recognize the 8 finalists. But before that, I'd like to call Ms. Trudy Lewis, who's representing Eddie Bernice Johnson's, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson. I believe you are here to help us present some certificates to all of the nominees and finalists or winners of the award. So as I call up your name as a finalist, please come up to stage for your recognition. First, we have Raymond Corral. Raymond. Raymond was born in Mexico and is a test engineer with Alcatel-Lucent. Raymond commits a great deal of his time to make a difference in his community, leading such initiatives as Habitat for Humanity, Career Day events, and encouraging students to consider careers in the telecom industry. And Raymond is one of Alcatel-Lucent's top volunteers and community leaders. Congratulations. It's an honor. Okay. Next, we have Edith DeAgostino. Edith, will you please come up? Okay. Edith hails from Venezuela and is the owner of Gabbiano Group LLC, a distribution company located in Plano. Edith has owned and operated several restaurants in Venezuela and was the president of the Chamber of Commerce and the director of the Board of Tourism in Venezuela. Congratulations. Our next finalist nominee is Mr. Ashok Kumar Mago. Mr. Mago. Mr. Mago was born in India, let's give a round of applause, and is the chairman of the Greater Dallas Indo-American Chamber, now known as the U.S.-India Chamber of Commerce, and has held numerous civic leadership positions such as the director of Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, chairman of the Greater Dallas Community Relations Commission, and chairman of the Urban League of Dallas. Ashok has received numerous awards, including the Padma Shri, the fourth highest civilian award by the government of India. Our next finalist nominee is Sir Joe Madu. Mr. Madu was born in Nigeria and is the president of the West Africa American Chamber of Commerce and Industries and the chief administrator of Noble Choice Home Healthcare. Joe has successfully organized and delivered medical and trade missions to various African countries and leads the WAACCI in development of international trade between the U.S. and Africa. He's collaborated with the University of Texas at Dallas Venture Center in delivering Global Summit seminar series. Joe, if you would just come back one more time. I do have a letter of recognition from the Texas House of Representatives, our State Representative Helen Giddings, and she asked that we read this for you. Ms. Giddings states, "It is my greatest pleasure and honor to congratulate you on the 2015 Immigrant Journey Awards. This distinguished recognition as an exceptional immigrant by Cowles Thompson for your outstanding contribution in building and sustaining human trade and investment relationships between this country and the rest of the world. I commend you for your selfless effort to uplift all immigrants and leverage your talents to enrich the economy and social fabric of the United States of America and the global village. You are a great asset to all immigrants and citizens, especially those in North Texas. As you go forth in your quest to make life better for all that you serve, please know that we in the community salute you and praise your efforts in providing opportunities for a brighter tomorrow." Congratulations, Jeff. Our next finalist nominee is Dr. Rajan Rajal. I'm not sure if he's able to make it. He unfortunately is actually in Nepal, his home country, and was en route, but he did send his greetings to you. I do want to recognize him and let you know that he's a research assistant professor at the University of North Texas. He is currently a member of the UNT Chilean Sub-Antarctic Biocultural Conservation Program and research and academic activities. Dr. Rajal has been recognized for his excellence in education, having won the Outstanding Teaching Assistant Award from the Department of Biological Science, University of North Texas, and Outstanding International Graduate Student Award, International Division from UNT as well. Let's give him a hand. Our next finalist nominee is Andres Russo, who was born and raised in Lima, Peru, and is the founder of Link America. I believe he has unfortunately, Andres is actually overseas working, so he did send a representative. You can come forward, please. Thank you. Again, Andres was raised in Lima, Peru, and is the founder of Link America, a telecom company which has been recognized as the #1 fastest growing Hispanic-owned business in the U.S. Andres has been featured in Fortune magazine and has received numerous awards, including the top 100 influential and notable Hispanic professionals in the IT industry. Thank you. Finally, our last nominee, our finalist nominee is Roxana Valenzuela. Okay. And Roxana owns Mix Cocina restaurant in Fort Worth. She is actively involved in the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and advocates for increased exposure to careers in entrepreneurship and business for young Hispanic adults. Congratulations. Now we are going to announce the winners of each category. We have 6 winners in 4 different categories. We will first start with the Immigrant Entrepreneur Award. We have 2 winners in this category. First, we'd like to call Azam Mirza and Claudia Mirza from India and Colombia, respectively. Azam and Claudia launched Akorbi in 2003 as a translation services company. Under their leadership, vision, and tenacity, it evolved from a home-based business to a multi-million-dollar global business solutions company with more than 600 employees worldwide. The company has experienced impressive 200% growth in the last few years as they continue to expand their multilingual service offerings to include interpretation, staffing, and business process outsourcing. Azam and Claudia have received numerous awards from the business community and are actively involved in the community as well, serving in several civic organizations and sponsoring the college education of 5 students. Congratulations. Our next winner in the Immigrant Entrepreneur category is An Vo. An left Vietnam by boat in 1979 with only her husband, Hong Tran, who is also here today, and their 19-year-old daughter at that time, wrapped in blankets, leaving behind family, friends, and the only life and language and home they knew. After landing in Texas, Hong and An took jobs to feed their small family. Hong began working for an electronics company at base wages and then worked his way up as a technician for Xerox. An Vo is the owner of 5 locations at Cindy's New York Delicatessen Restaurant and Bakery, delicious food, and celebrated 25th anniversary in August 2014. Anne has received many awards, including the 2012 Woman Entrepreneur, D Magazine 2010 winner, 2013 Leaders of Excellence Award, Meaningful Life Award, and 2013 Leaders of Excellence Award. Congratulations. Next, we have the Professional Excellence category, and we have 2 winners in that category as well. Dr. Dilshad, Dayani, if you would please come up, is the president and founder of World Women Global Council and the founding vice president of UN Women USNC Dallas chapter. She is a diversity advocate, trainer, author, broadcast journalist, and international speaker. As an immigrant from South Asia, her personal challenges transformed her journey into an empowerment radio talk show serving diverse communities in Texas and East Coast. Dilshad also serves on local and national advisory boards, including the NPR and KERA. She's won several awards for excellence in her profession. Next, we have Patricia Moore as our Immigrant Professional Excellence Award winner. Patricia is an international businesswoman and consultant, grew up in Bogota, Colombia, and as a diplomat represented her country in Norway and Iceland before moving to the United States in 1991. She is a co-owner of Sentrum International Corporation, a consulting firm with 23 years of experience in the field of global trade and business development. She serves as a consultant to the group of Latin American consuls in North Texas and has received several awards for accomplishments in Dallas, including the Spirit of Texas Small Business Award. Congratulations. Our next award is for the Immigrant Advocate, is the Immigrant Advocate Award. And this award goes to Nagla Musa. Nagla, if you please come up. Born in Cairo, Egypt, Nagla is the president of the National Autism Association of North Texas. In 2009, she, along with 2 other members, founded the NAANT of the National Autism Association. And the mission of this organization is to educate and empower families affected by autism and other neurological disorders, while advocating on behalf of those who cannot fight for their own rights, many of whom are immigrants. Nagla is a fierce advocate for families and has made every effort to create an ethnically diverse board for the NAANT in order to reach as many communities as possible in North Texas, and which includes representation from Mexico, Central America, Europe, India, and Africa. Congratulations, Nagla. And our last award is the Immigrant Spirit Award, which goes to Mauricio Dominguez. Would you please come up? Mr. Dominguez left his native Colombia for America at age 17 to become an exchange student at a school in Texas. At 19, he enrolled at the University of Massachusetts and began to study, become a doctor. He was advised to teach for a couple of years to enhance his applications for medical school when he realized his true calling was in education. So he obtained an MSA in school administration from Texas A&M and has worked as an educator ever since. In a more recent role, Mr. Dominguez served as the superintendent founding principal of Williams Preparatory School in Dallas. He was at helm at Williams, which was recognized as the #8 most transformative high school in the nation. Mr. Dominguez now serves as the assistant superintendent student services for Dallas Independent School District. Let's congratulate our winners and our nominees once again. All right. I'll call Rebecca.
Well, that comes to the end of our program. Are you guys inspired? Let me hear it. Myron, thanks again for your words of wisdom. Another hand for our keynote. Our scholarship recipients, please go out and do something great with the funds. And of course, our Immigrant Award winners today, thank you for what you've done for our community. And most of all, where are all the lawyers from Cowles and Thompson? Where are you? Stand up, please. Thank you so much for this award ceremony. And thank you, because let me tell you right now, I don't know of any other law firm doing this. So I give you a big thank you from all the people here, from the daughter of Mexicans from Mexico. Gracias, gracias, gracias. And continue supporting our immigrant community. Thank you so much.